طيب إن شاء الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعه وولاه سلم تسليما كثيرا. We continue with our book الطب الروحاني by الإمام ابن الجوزي رحمه الله تعالى. And we talked about last time الشره يعني this avid desire that it is very hard to be satiated or fulfilled. يعني someone have shirah for food that they eat and eat. They might kill themselves eating, but they can't stop. That is called shirah. It can be in other things too. He talked. We talked last time about the shirah in the food and how one of the worst things is to eat while you're still full. And is to eat while you're not hungry. That is the worst habit a human can have. One of the worst habits the human can have. And that the aqil or the sane person is the one who eats to live, not live to eat. Okay? And now he's talking about also shirah, or this greed can be also in the sexual activity as well. Sexual activity as well. And we are talking about the halal. Yani we are not talking about haram, because haram is haram, whether it is less or more haram. A person committing zina, it is haram. Whether yani once in their lifetime or 10 times a day, it's haram, zina. So when we are not talking here about the halal versus haram, we're rather talking about the quantity or the focus or the desire to keep doing that without limitation. Doesn't mean that a person, the whole idea of this section here is a person submitting or being enslaved to his or her desires. It is not going to end. It is like drinking salt water. It keeps you thirsty and you're going to explode, but you're still thirsty. You're not hungry, but you keep eating. A person is not needy, but they will go for this intercourse and all of that. So this is the shahwa. The shirah is when the shahwa or the lust of the person controls him or her. That is the meaning of the word shirah. Shirah, when a person is enslaved to their lust or desire. Okay. A person when he eats a lot, then the body cannot function in the way that Allah created it to function. You need the fuel, the food. So the food goes in, nutrition goes into the blood, and the blood gives what the nutrition needed for the brain, for the vital organs, and all of that. Now, when you have extra, your body now, it is working hard, working overtime to digest the food, and it is more than what it needs. So start storing it, and then after storing it, the body is like over burdened. So the body will not do its original minimal functions. Same thing for sexual intercourse. When a person does it based on the need, the average, in a reasonable way, then the body gets rid of what it needs to get rid of. There is a balance, emotional balance, social balance, physical balance. The man and the husband and the wife, they are closer to each other. But if it is overdone, then the body cannot catch up also. There is exhaustion. There is more nutrition needed to meet this extra effort or extra work. And then other things would be compromised. The liver would be overworked. The heart would be overworked. The kidneys would be overworked. And then the person will not be functioning properly. So shirah, or being enslaved to one's lust, it is, even though the lust is fulfilled, one, it is never going to be fulfilled on the long run, on the long term. 2, it will affect other major needed functions. I hope this is understood that way. So when a person surrenders to their lust or their desire, and everything that they want, yes, 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 they go for it. Then when they need actually to use their health, when they need to use their functions for something important, they will not find it. Why? Because they exhausted, they used it in things that it is not necessary. You just wanted more and more and more. That's now when a person becomes enslaved to their lust and desires, they can't quit. They can't quit. The lust and the desire, when it flares, the person should fulfill it in the proper way, but should control it also. So it does not control you, you control it. Also, he mentioned that sharah, or this greed, or the extra lust, can be for money as well. And he's saying that this is passive insanity. Yani, when a person is insane about someone or something, we understand. Insane about food, or insane about sex, or this, we understand that. But when a person is insane about money, this is kind of like money is used to buy things and all of that. So meaning when you want to collect all this money, you want to collect all these things. So that means, do you need all of these things? That is where the insanity comes from. It becomes hoarding. So money is a means. Money is a means, but at least food is fulfills, like a person becomes full. Sexual things, a person extinguishes that fire of lust. But collecting money, why you collect money for? To purchase things. Well, are you going to purchase everything? No. Do you need all these things that you purchase? No. So why you are like so eager about collecting money? Okay. So the money is not intended for itself, it's intended for what it purchases. And nobody can deny or can blame anyone for making money for what they need. And if somebody doesn't have a house and they want to buy a house or want to build a house and he's collecting money for that, nobody can tell them don't. Nobody can blame someone who doesn't have a car that he's collecting money to buy a car. All right. Nobody wants to pay for his children tuition and food and health and education and all that, can be blamed for doing so. And nobody can even be blamed for collecting money to help others. Nobody can. But once you reach to that level that you're okay with what you have and you have extra, so do not waste the golden time. This is a great ni'mah from Allah. Time is like precious. And don't say time means money. No, time means comfort. Time means love. Time means relationships. Time means family. Time means lots of other good things. Time doesn't mean money. Yeah, this is a wrong statement to reduce time to be financial ground. Use money. No, you can use time for priceless things. If you give someone advice that changes their life, how much money is that? You know, you change someone's life by giving them advice that you save their life. You know, you brought them from darkness to light. That's why Rasul said, for Allah to guide one person because of you is better than the whole dunya. That is money for you. All this dunya, all the money in it, all the trillions of dollars and gold and silver and all of that is nothing compared to changing somebody's life or saving somebody's life. So time doesn't mean money for us as Muslims. Time means things that money cannot purchase. Time means priceless things, not money. If time means money, it's very cheap. Time means money, and that is a statement of people who are enslaved to their desire for money. They evaluate everything by money. Tell me how much you have, I'll tell you who you are. That is very, very narrow, a very low level of evaluating the creation that Allah Azza wa Jal honored. وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. We honor Bani Adam. And when Allah created everything for us, please mute your mic, sister. Please mute your mics. So Allah give honor, and Allah honored the human being, and the human being dishonoring himself and bringing himself down, being enslaved to one of the creations that Allah created to serve you. Ajib, amazing. And Allah created money for us to achieve things or gain things or own things that will help us to become slaves of Allah. So if money becomes our God now, that we want to collect it for the sake of it, and then we make it as a measurement of who's better than who, then we lose. Then we lose completely. So nobody's going to blame you for being average, for collecting money for your own family, for your own needs, for even security. No problem. But don't waste your time for just getting more without reason, without an analogy, without an argument, without a purpose. Your soul is being risked when you start fulfilling your body, the desires and the lusts of the body, carnal, desires and lusts. And one of the poets said, وَمَنْ يُنْفِقِ الْأَيَّامَ فِي جَمْعِ مَالِهِ مَخَافَةَ فَقْرٍ فَالَّذِي فَعَلَ الْفَقْرُ. Yani the one who is spending his days to collect money out of fear of poverty, he just gained nothing but poverty. Why? Because you lost your capital. And what is the point of the profit if you lose the capital? You invested $100 and you made a profit of 10, 20, 30, but then you lost the 100. Then what? You're not going to make any more profit and you lost your capital. So we spend our prime time of our youth and our health in collecting money. And once we retire, we have the money, but we cannot enjoy it. So we're going to spend it on our health. So we spend our health and our money, our time, the days, the prime time of our life and our youth to collect money. Well, we collected the money, but now we do not have the time and the health to enjoy it. So you're going to spend money for the health that you lost to heal it, and you don't have much time left in your life. So when a person becomes 50 or 60, plus spend your prime in collecting the money and achieving things, but then now what? Spend your life in eating the best of foods. Now you're diabetic, you have cholesterol, you have problems. You're going to spend money again in fixing what you spend the money for before. Lost both ways. So people become very, very miser. And then when they grow up, they don't have time to spend that money. And they're still miser. So somebody will benefit from their money after they die. Actually, people around them, they will wish for them to die so they can benefit from their money. So this sickness here is fixed by understanding what money is for. So we need to ask ourselves, what money is for? What did Allah give me this money for? What should I do with that money? So money is a prize. It's not the goal to have XYZ amount in your bank account. The goal is what you're going to do with the XYZ in your bank account. Otherwise, somebody else is going to use it for an XYZ, not necessarily aligning with your benefit in this dunya or akhirah. So why you risk that? Gather money and you said, okay, my children will spend it in charity. Who told you that they will do that? You collect the money, they will prioritize their life according to their own criteria, but to your criteria. Now they have money, they just got it overnight when you die. So they decide what to do with it, not you. You decide what to do with the money when it's in your hand now, sitting in your bank account. That's what you can decide what to do with. You cannot decide after your death. You can make all the wasiyah in the world or the will in the world, but then you cannot control it. You cannot control what they're going to spend it in. That's the aql, intellect, intelligence. Is that don't waste your precious time, your precious health in making money that you will not be able to spend it and enjoy it. Or you don't have time to spend it and enjoy it. Or you're going to be spending it on the health that you lost and in the time that you don't have, trying to do things that you didn't do before. In all cases, you'll be running out of time. So the healing of this sickness of the love of money and desire for accumulating more money is to know what is the purpose of money, what is the value of money, is that it's purchasing something that you benefit from. The idea is not to keep the money and keep looking at it. Oh, I'm a millionaire. Oh, I'm a billionaire. What does it even mean? There is money sitting in the bank that you're leaving it there. You don't have control over it because you have only control over what you spent. But what you have now, even the papers or the legalities saying that you own this account, you own this money, you don't. Money, you own it when you spend it. Now we know that you are the one who spent it. You are the one who got something in return. That was your money. Money in my pocket now, I'm not sure I'm going to reach home with it or not. To stay as my money. Also, to heal this disease after knowing what the money is for, you have to balance and prioritize what I'm going to spend the money with now. Is it better for my dunya and deen or it is not? Then I start from what is better. Don't risk yourself. Don't risk your good values. Don't risk your morality. Don't risk your dedication to Allah Azza wa Jal. Because once you start spending, worrying about collecting money only, then you got distracted from the main purpose that you are here in this life. Also, he said that the sharah, or this greed or lust, can happen in ownership. Yani owning buildings, owning rights like camels and horses, owning clothes and other things. So the possessions. So it can be in food and drinks, can be in sexual relations. It can be in accumulating and earning money, earning and accumulating money. It can be in possessions, owning things, owning brands, watches, shoes, purses, cars, houses, artifacts. And all of this is because anything you desire, you say, I can afford it, so I need to get it. Now you need to fix it from there. It's not everything you want means everything. It's something that you need. You might need things, but you don't want it. You get injured or your leg's broken or have a problem. You don't want the surgery. You don't want a cast. It's painful. But you need it. So you go with what you need first. You may also want something which is not good. First, you want to have fun, but it's haram in a certain way. To have fun that way is haram. Person wants certain relationship, but it's haram to have that relationship. So sometimes we do not want what we need. Sometimes we think we need, we want him, we do not want the things that we need. So there is something that you need but you don't want, and there is something that you want but you don't need. So you have to prioritize. What do you need first as a human being? What do you need as a Muslim? What do you need as a servant of Allah, slave of Allah? What do you need as a father, as a mother, as a teacher, as a son, as a student, as a wife, as a husband? What do you need? Ask yourself that question. What do I need in this life to fulfill that duty? And those are the things I want to do once you make the list. Then all your wants will be in accordance with your needs, because Allah Azza wa Jalla showed us what we need in this life. So it is very, very important. Also, the treatment of this disease of the love of possessions, that you'll be accounted on how you earn and how you spend. What you earn and what you spend. You will not move Yawm al-Qiyamah till you're asked one of those 4 questions. Your life, how you spend it, your youth, how you utilized it, your knowledge, what did you do with it, what did you do with it, and the money, how you earned it and you spent it. So it's very, very important that to know that you have to control your desire, and you have to know that you'll be accounted for what you earned and what you spend. You're not supposed to be extravagant. And Allah Azza wa Jalla does not look to the people who drag their clothes out of arrogance behind them. People used to do that before, that the clothes is very expensive, it's made of silk and everything. They're dragging it on the ground, on the floor, and it is getting dirty and everything, but don't care. This is out of arrogance. Allah will not forgive these people. Okay. So he's saying that the same person is the one that who sees how short is this life, and they will control how much they dress and how much they own. Not necessarily because you got to afford something, you just go ahead and get it. Some narrations say that Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salam stayed 1,000 years until the ship come, So 950 of them, he was inviting his people. He started inviting his people when he was about 40 years old. So it's about 950 years, 960 years, say 1,000 years. They said that he was living in a tent made out of hair of the goats. Bayt min al-Sha'b. Our Prophet ﷺ did not build houses of bricks. His houses was made of mud and straws and trunk of trees and all of that. Sayyidina Umar ibn al-Khattab, his clothes had 12 different rips, ripped, and he mended it. So they knew that this dunya is a pathway. It is not a destination. So he said that knowledge was that kind of knowledge, that this dunya is a pathway. It is a journey, it's a travel. It's not a destination. You only do these things in a destination. Once you reach your destination, start feeling comfortable, eating and drinking and dressing and all that. But when you are traveling, you're just looking for the destination to come. So he said that these people knew that this life is like that. And that is the biggest treatment for this disease of ash-sharah, this greed or lust. And you have to read the history of the scholars, of the prophets, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, the companions, the scholars, the good and pious, righteous people, who this dunya was not a priority for them. Next section, he said that you have to reject the riyasat ad-dunya, yani being in leadership positions, unless it's needed, of course. People promote you to it and you are the best person. That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is like just being eager to rule, to lead. That's not something that we look for. The affairs of dunya. We're not also talking about the affairs of religion. That's why we say the riyasat dunya. In the dunya affairs, you want to be number one. You want people to point fingers at you. You want to be recognized. You want to be leading. That's what we're advised not to look after. Every soul likes to be prominent, likes to be dominant, likes to be praised. Want to have authority because they know that they were forbidden things and make restrictions and make rules and order people under them. That is also some desire there. Even though it is needed when a person knows himself or herself that they are the best to it, there are risks with it. People criticize you, they will accuse you, you will have issues, you will feel entitled sometimes, you will feel arrogant sometimes, feel an ego sometimes. Those are risks. Yeah. So anybody who wants to have authority or you want leadership or rule over others, they have to know it has detrimental effects. Detrimental effects. Having authority. And the best way is to say that this is, I don't want, but if Allah wants you to be in it, then you ask Allah for help. And you know that this is a venue that Allah gave you, so you can serve others. So you have to be nice to them, you have to talk gently to them. Even when you are harsh and all of that's for a purpose. They know that this is not your characteristic, but you are doing that for their own betterment and all that. So when you know authority, when you love authority, when you want to go for it, the result is to serve Allah Azza wa Jal and serve the people after that, and they serve the people whom Allah created, regardless where they are. You have to serve the people that Allah Azza wa Jal created. Then the greed and that lust for the position, gone. It's not about you. It's not about you being recognized and everybody saying, oh, look at him or at her. No, you are doing it for a completely different reason. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, there's nobody who is a leader of 10 people, or more, except he will come Yawm al-Qiyamah, was chained, his hands are chained. Before we decide he's good or bad, he will come and hands chained because he led 10 people or more. And it is written, he's shackled with his hands to his neck, and there are chains on his hand, and it is tied to his neck. That's how they're going to come Yawm al-Qiyamah. He said that his virtue and good will untie him, or his injustice will take him to hellfire. Then the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, the beginning of this kind of leadership is blame, and the middle of it is regret, and the end of it is scandal and punishment in the Yawm al-Qiyamah. The Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, woe to the umara, the amirs, woe to al-urafa, those people who are well known in the community that they are leading. Woe to al-umana, even the honest ones. لتمنين أقوام يوم القيامة أن ذوائبهم كانت معلقة بالثريا يتذبذبون بين السماء والأرض ولم يكونوا عملوا شيء. Said people, those people would wish the day of judgment that they are hung from their hair in the stars and that they are moving back and forth. Better for them not to be in a leadership position, because what they see as a responsibility on al-Qiyamah that they are accounted for. The hadith Abu Dharr radiallahu anhu, when he asked Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to appoint him as an amir on something, he said, Ya Abu Dharr, innaka dha'if. You are weak. You don't have this leadership quality in you. And this is an amana that needs somebody strong. This is a trust. Needs somebody to be strong. And Yawm al-Qiyamah, it is regret and shame, except to those who fulfill it with its duties. And he fulfilled the obligation. In another hadith, the Prophet said, Abu Dharr, I love for you what I love for myself. you cannot be a leader over 2 people only, and you cannot be a guardian over an orphan's money. Why? Because Abu Dharr was very harsh in his judgment and rules. So I said, if you rule over 2 people, you will fight with them and they will fight with you. And the whole point of leadership to help all that will be done. And also Abu Dharr, he did not want to have more money in any single day. He have more money than what he needs for that day. So basically, he would stay poor. And then he used to accuse or talk to the people who are rich that Allah will punish you because you are saving money that you do not need. Come on, that's not the understanding. But that's why Rasulullah told them you cannot rule over the money of the orphan, even because you find ways to spend it. You don't want the money to stay there. We stop here, inshallah. I don't want to make it a long session, but if you have questions or anything, let me know. Inshallah. Next time we talk about miserliness, al-bukhlu, miserliness. يعني how a person should get rid of being miser. Being miser. صلى الله وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد والحمد لله رب العالمين. Any questions you sisters have?
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Yes, alaikum salam.
I have a question regarding those things that are halal. How do we gauge, or is there a guide to tell how much we need? Is there a limit or a standard that we can measure? For
Very
example,
good. There is a universal standard, there is a personal standard, and then there is a cultural standard. Okay. Universal standard is always supported by religion. Yani, what do I mean by that? Yani, anything that majority, I'm not going to say every single human because they're always different. Majority of human recognize it as good, right? As good. So that's called the universal standard. So there is a universal health standard when it comes to food. Universal health standard. What is a universal health standard? Stomach, the size of the stomach is the average of one's hand. If you put 2 hands together, that's kind of like your stomach. Okay, your stomach. This is, your heart is 1 hand. Your stomach is like both hands if you put them together. That's the size of your stomach. So this is a universal standard. You cannot go more than what your stomach can take. Now there is individual standard. The child cannot eat like an adult. A big person cannot eat like a small person. So if they go more than what they need, that's extravagant and harm. Then you have cultural standard. Like some cultures, they will not eat except if they're hungry, and they will eat 1 meal a day or 2 meals a day or 10 meals a day. But at the end of the day, this is a culture thing that this is the amount that we eat. It's recognized. Religious standard we talked about as a universal standard. So religious standard telling us that you eat 1/3 of your stomach. That is the max you should go. How do you know 1/3? Like whatever makes you full, eat 1/3 of that. So we all try it. Like what makes me full is that big plate or that saucer or that bowl. Like whatever I eat, I cannot finish it. We all know that. Like you all know in your kitchen, oh, if I put food in that plate, I cannot finish it. So you know that that plate will fill you up, or half of it will fill you up. Take 1/3 of that half, or 1/3 of that plate. That's what you need to eat in every meal. So now those are the standards. If you go over those standards, now you are harming yourself or being extravagant. If you go in houses, you're living in an expensive neighborhood, masjid and everywhere, it is an expensive neighborhood, and you can afford it. So it doesn't mean you are extravagant now, because this is a community. You are not like standing out in an insane way from others. Yeah, people can be standing out. Everybody like have this, but one person have more expensive house, more expensive car, but they are within their general average. But when somebody like intentionally keeps going and running to prove that they are different and they are better than everybody else, that is extravagance. So you have to incorporate the culture or the tradition, you have to incorporate the religion, to incorporate the universal things and your individual need. And in going over all of that, it becomes harm or prohibited or disliked, whatever it was described with, right?
Jazakumullah khair.
Which is it?
Does the Sundus have a question? Go ahead.
Yes, assalamu alaikum. I just had a question about this, the last hadith you mentioned about Abu Dharr radiallahu anh. Is
Yes.
it allowed to be like that? Allowed to be that strict?
Shufi, sister, a very good question. It's not about allowed or not allowed. It is about what is the communal benefit. You are within, not the prohibition. Yani, there is a person there who can tell everybody this is haram and this is halal. That would be considered strict, right? But if we are living in an area or a place that every time people were told haram, they will do more haram, then me as the leader or the Amir or the king or whatever I tell to that person, you have to take it easy. You cannot forbid or enjoin except within the government policies. Then, like that. So it is allowed, but when to apply it. That's why Sayyidina Uthman told Abu Dharr, you cannot do this. And he kept doing it. He said, then I'm going to exile you from Medina. And he actually did. Ask him to go sit in a place outskirts of Medina on the path for people going for Hajj to Mecca. It's called Al-Ribza. And he lived there and died there by himself. Why? Because he cannot control himself from criticizing the rich people. And he went overboard. Sayyidina Abu Dharr radiallahu anhu. He went overboard with it. You cannot say that what he says is ultimately wrong, but you cannot say that it's ultimately right either, because it is halal to accumulate wealth. It's halal to enjoy the dunya. But it is haram to be involved in it, to be distracted from the deen. So he wanted to close that door, and they said, why there are poor people while there are very rich people? It was very socialist mentality. And the Prophet did not do that. Okay. So now it is not about what is allowed and what is not allowed to be strict or not. It is what is the benefit that comes out of it. Because sometimes you need to be strict in certain environment or certain situations. So it's allowed to be strict in certain times, and it is advised to be lenient in certain times, and you cannot exchange while one of them is needed to use the other one.
Okay, so we can say that
more of an etiquette and adab. You need a mentor.
Okay.
You need a system. Otherwise, if it is up to you, then you should be always in the cautious side. A Muslim is always in the cautious side, not the extreme in applying and not extreme in abandoning. You always be in the middle.
Okay, just like them.
One second. All right, Jazakumullah khairan. And please, Sister Siti, inshallah, if you can send me the audio only of this lecture, I'd really appreciate it.
Inshallah, yes.
All right. So I can send you the summaries, inshallah.
Jazakumullah khair, Shaykh. Thank you, sisters.
Assalamu alaikum, sister. Inshallah, whoever attending Surah An-Nur, we'll see you, inshallah. I'll put the Zoom link as well tonight, inshallah.
Jazakumullah khair, Shaykh.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.